On paper, a wealthy corporate raider hiring a plucky young sex worker to be his escort for a week might not sound like the recipe for something sweet. But when people first reviewed Pretty Woman, the critic called it a sweetheart of an old-fashioned romantic comedy with charm derived mostly from its cast. Julia Roberts as Vivian Ward and her 2019 Guardian interview, Julia Roberts shared that she landed the role of Vivian Ward, a sex worker hired by Gear's Edward Lewis as a companion during a business trip, after 8 actresses turned it down. "It really is not a measure of talent, particularly in the beginning," she said. "It's a measure of good fortune, and being able to have your wits about you enough to make something out of that good fortune." Richard Gere as Edward Lewis. Richard Gere had been a movie mainstay since the 1970s when he signed on as the somewhat cold, workaholic Edward Lewis, with films like American Gigolo, 1980, An Officer and a Gentleman, 1982, and Internal Affairs, 1990, on his resume. But Pretty Woman remains a high point. Laura San Giacomo as Kit DeLuca. The actress had appeared in a handful of TV shows before her 1980. After Pretty Woman went on to a long list of films, and perhaps most notably, starring on series including Just Shoot Me and Saving Grace. Most recently, she's appeared in a 4-episode arc in Season 3 of Barry, and has had a recurring role as Dr. Grace Confalone on NCIS since 2016. Hector Elizondo as Barnard Barney Thompson. It's a film that I was not interested in, quite frankly, when I saw the premiere, Elizondo told the AV Club in 2021. But for some reason, it came by at the right time, touched the right chord, and became this thing that's bigger than life. And all of a sudden, I find out that I'm gonna get a Golden Globe Award nomination. It still turns my head. Jason Alexander as Philip Stuckey. "I was not what Gary Marshall had in his head," Alexander recalled on the Inside of You podcast in 2021. "He thought I was too young, too baby-faced, and too small. He knew that there was this physical confrontation with Richard Gere's role. So I was a non-starter for Gary. He knew who he wanted, and they couldn't make a deal with that guy. And now the movie was shooting, and that role has to start, and they don't have anybody. And the casting director, Diane Crittenden, loved me for this role.